Hi, my name is MikeDoane. I am principal owner of Term Management LLC, and our company specializes in creating and managing taxonomies inside of ECM systems such as SharePoint. But in this case, in this month's video blog post, I'm going to talk about managing assets within a digital asset management system like NetExposure. NetExposure is a pretty typical digital asset management system, very capable, handles tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of images. But what a lot of clients come to us for is this system can manage those images, but what they have problems with is finding them once they're in the system. Because in a lot of cases, when you import images, you bring them over, they've got really poor, not very user-friendly titles. In addition, they've got very little, if any, associated metadata that would make them easier to find, such as a description, a more user-friendly name, even attributes like color, campaign data, contractor, things like that. So what we do is we build taxonomies that enable images like this to be found easier and faster inside of a digital asset management system. Now, one of the things that NetExposure does that's pretty cool is that once we've built out these taxonomies inside of spreadsheets, and the people in the company have helped us build these taxonomies based on how they want to use them, we can import that metadata on top of these images once they're in the system and rewrite a lot of this metadata that you see in these attribute fields right here via bulk import. Much easier than having to do this one at a time. Well, how do you do it? Well, in this case, what we could do is we go to these 7 images, and I would just go ahead and put them all into my cart. And this is what NetExposure does with this product. It adds all the images into a cart, and at this point I can do a lot of things in the actions, but one of the actions that we do a lot is to export that metadata. What this is going to do is that it's going to take these images and take all the metadata that we saw in the images, like the file name, the name, the description. You can see a lot of it is blank, especially here in the attributes, and it's going to go ahead and export that metadata into an Excel CSV spreadsheet, and that looks something like this. So we can see we got an asset ID, we have a name here, again that unfriendly name, file name, here's the path, here's the name of it, description, very little metadata in here, colors, a lot of other columns. But what I want to do is a few things. First, I want to change this name. So let's say, for example, let's say this really was a photograph of Neil Armstrong on the moon. I'll go ahead and make that change in this spreadsheet, and I'll just copy those in there. Let's just say for now these are all about Neil Armstrong. I'll add that this was part of the Apollo program, and I'll go ahead and do the same thing here for demonstration purposes, show you that I'm now adding metadata description to each one of these photographs. And let's say there was a drop down that had different colors in it. Let's say I want to add some colors to it. So I'll add blue, black, red. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. I'm making changes to the metadata as I update it in the spreadsheet. This is typically what we do with clients. They pass these spreadsheets around, and then different people would add different metadata fields like this, different information to this. We can go ahead and save this, and then once I get back to the system, I can come in here and I can import this metadata by choosing this file, which I've saved on my desktop. I'll import that metadata, and you can see here it gives me some choices. I have to make a few choices here, and then I have to tell it which fields I'm updating. So asset ID and file are mandatory, but in this case that's where I made my change. It was in name, so I'll go ahead and say please make the changes there. This is description, so I'll say please make the changes there. And I also added colors, so I'll scroll over and say please make the change to colors. Once I say commit, what's happening now is that the system is going in and rewriting the metadata associated with all those images. Once I say I'm done and I jump back to the images themselves, you can see that names have been changed. And then once I get in here, you can see I've added, our system has automatically added the metadata, including the colors. And if I go back to the file, you can see it added Apollo program under description. And it did that for every one of the images, all 7 of them that I showed you there. Now the advantage of this is pretty clear. If you've got 10, 15, 20,000 images or more, like most companies have that use DAM systems, is that you don't want to go in one by one and do this. But what you can do using a system like NetExposure is to go in and make these changes in bulk inside of that spreadsheet. And as a taxonomist, when I'm going out and helping clients develop taxonomies for sites, especially for digital asset management systems, SharePoint sites, whatever it happens to be, being able to update metadata on multiple assets in bulk at one time is mission critical for really making that implementation of that management system sing and immediately returning some value. So this month we covered how to update in bulk the metadata associated with digital assets inside of a DAM system. And in upcoming months, I want to do more of these video blogs of demonstrating how that you can incorporate more taxonomy inside of your ECM system. This is Mike Doane from Term Management LLC saying thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.